Your turn, Yugi boy.
What is up, guys? This is Linthio coming at you today with a debut deck profile of my Fable deck. Now, yes, I have had these cards for so long, probably about just over 2 or just under 2 years, and the main reason is because one of my good mates, Pewsley, down in Bristol, he quit, so I got his collection off him, and it had all of his Fable cards, all in DT, and he was a very big advocate for the deck. He loved it. It was one of his favourite decks. And basically, I vowed, I was like, well, I'm not going to get rid of these because they're your deck and they mean something, so I'm going to keep them. And I'm just like, hey, why not do a deck profile? So it's taken a while because it's a very difficult deck to build. There's a lot of combos, a lot of possible directions you can go down, but this is mine. So, yeah, so without further ado, we'll go straight onto it. So, first off, I just want to give a big shout out to Shatner's Prodigy. He is a YouTuber on, obviously, YouTube. And I've been watching him for a while, and I've got a lot of different ideas and testing from him. So, shout out to him. He's a real master of the deck. He's probably one of the best creative minds for this deck that I've seen on YouTube. So, go check him out. So, starting us off, we have Fabled Grimoire. Grimoire is basically your searcher. When there's a Fable on your side of the field, you can discard it from your hand to search out one Fable apart from herself. So really important. Gets to your big plays very easily. Nice level 4 as well in the graveyard for possible revivals with like Cruz, for example. So yeah, Grimoire is just absolutely amazing and a staple 3 of. Next up, Speak of the Devil, She Shall Enter, we have Cruz. By the way, yeah, these are all DT because he was a rarity haul like me. They're so pretty. So Cruz is just absolutely amazing. Level 2, when it's discarded to the graveyard, select level 4 or lower Fabled in your graveyard and special summon it. So a little monster reborn for the archetype, simply because I don't play any level 5 or higher, so this has a target for every single Fable monster, including myself. So it's a really important card because it just allows you to make some really quick, easy plays. Really powerful monster, and it just really shouldn't be underlucked. Next up, we have 3 of the Fabled Nozuchi. Nozuchi, depends on how you want to say it. The card's really cool. It's a bit of a weird one. I've gone back and forth testing this, and I've kind of settled on having it at 3. You can have it at 2 if you really want, but it all depends on the version of the deck that you're running. As I said, there are a lot of different ways to run this deck, and they're just really, it's just a really good card depending on if you want to turbo into like Quasars or anything like that. But its effect is during your main phase you can discard one Fable monster, special summon this card from your hand. When this card is special summoned by this effect, you can special summon one level 2 or lower Fable monster from your hand. So it's basically a lot of the combos you do it with if you do it like with Cruz. So you'll activate the effect, discard the Cruz, special summon this, then special summon something with Cruz, and then special summon something from your hand with Chi. So there's a lot of different ways you can play it out, and so many combos. But this just allows you to extend into your explosive plays. Sorry for hitting the camera very slightly. And yeah, so it's a really important card. And I had it at 2, and I didn't see it as much as I wanted. I have it now at 3, and I'm like, am I seeing it too much? I don't know. So we'll see. Next up, one of the very important cards of the deck, your level 1 tuner, Fabled Chower. Chower is basically, during your main phase, you can discard one Fable monster and special summon this card from your hand. So, I'm going to step back because for some reason this is hitting the camera. Chower is your level 1 tuner, very important because it means that you can go into your Quasar plays and different things like that. Chower is just awesome because it gets cards out of your hands, especially Fable monsters that you don't want in your hand also activate Cruz, different things like that. So Chower is very important. Level 1 light, really nice card. I do love it. And then going into the 2 ofs, Cerebral. So Cerebral is it's a great card. Don't get me wrong, absolutely great card, and it's one of Pewsley's face cards. He loves that. When it's discarded to the graveyard, special summon it. Very simple, level 2 tuner. I had a lot of problems with this at 3. It clogged really hard for me, and it's a very good card obviously, but there are a lot of different plays that you can make with it, and you don't necessarily need it. So because of that, I've cut it down to 2, and it's actually been working well. I'm seeing it when I want to. I can search it if I need to with Grimoire and all things like that. So Cerebral is just really good, but too much at maxed out. Next up, we have Fabled Laurie. Laurie's a really interesting one that I really do love because it's just perfect comboing with Chower. Because Chower is during your main phase, you can discard one Fabled, special summon it, and then this is when this card is discarded to the graveyard, special summon it. So you straight away, because it's not a tuner, straight away have a Formula Synchron play. So there's a lot of different plays like that, and just Laurie's a nice level 1 to add on to some extra synchro summoning that you might want to do. But at 2, it's really good. At 3, you can play it if you're playing like the an Exodia, not Exodia, a Quasar. I was thinking of Exodia Quasar there. If you want to play a Quasar like extreme, super, too fast, too quick build, if you really want, you can play 3 of them and like all those different types of stuff because it makes easier plays for Formula. Next up, we have Fable Ganesha. I've only got one. I'm only running one simply because this one it's a really weird one. Obviously, it makes great plays to get into Reagan, and being a level 3, it's nice, but again, this card really clogged when I was just testing, and it just really annoyed me. It's when the card special summon to the when this card is discarded to the graveyard, special summon it, and then it gains 200 attack, I'll start that again. When this card is discarded to the graveyard, special summon it. If this card is special summoned by this way, it gains 200 attack and is removed from play when it leaves the field. So it's a nice card. Gaining the 200 attack to go up to 2-8 isn't really that to 1-8. Sorry, isn't really that great. If it went to 2-8, that'd be amazing. But 1-8 isn't that great, and the fact it gets removed as well, it makes it kind of difficult. So Ganesha is just a nice one-off, and I haven't really missed it when it is at 1, so it's not too bad. Next up, we have one Fabled Kushano. So Kushano really shined when Tour Guide was at 3. Because it is a Fiend and level 3, it's a nice easy way to get it out, so the Tour Guide plays were excellent. Now that Tour Guide's at 1, it's literally pointless to play the Tour Guide engine in my opinion, because you just run into such dead draws. You just really don't want to see it, and yeah, so Kushano is basically you can discard a Fable monster to the graveyard, except itself, to add this card from your graveyard to your hand. So you get it back into your hand, enable some plays from, you know, obviously there's discard effects that your Fables have. Really, really solid card, but again, I really only saw this card shine when it was really Tour Guide days. And until Tour Guide comes back, I don't think I'm going to really be bumping it up, because personally, it just really didn't work out for me in testing, and I've done a lot of testing with these decks. Next up, we have the one Tricky. Really weird card. You might be like, why the hell are you running this card? Well, it's level 5, nice, easy, quick to special summon, discard as well. Can go into level 6s very, very quickly with this, especially with level 1 tuners. And just in general, it's a nice card. It's a good target for level eater and all this stuff. It just enables me to clear my hand out a little bit as well, which is an important thing for me. Because I found sometimes I do get quite clogged hands. But yeah, so Tricky is just a nice little one-off that I thought worked really well, and still does. Next here we have Hat Tricker. This is just simply here. It's level 4 special summon. I'm obviously going to be flooding the field, so it's going to be very easy to special summon. Don't need to say too much about that. Next up, the one Doppel Warrior. Just the one, but it's because I am always special summoning from the graveyard, so Doppel Warrior makes sense. Level 2, nice one to go into different plays, and then obviously spits out tokens that are level 1, so makes for good plays. The one Gloat Bulb, you probably expected this to be in here. Very simple card. Gotta love it. The one Level Eater just really helps the deck turbo through and level modulate, so I really do like it. It makes things just so much easier when you have a Level Eater in the graveyard, but yeah, so the one of is important. I tested 2 and I tested 3, and unlike the, excuse me, unlike the quick draw builds, well, obviously I play like 2 and 3 Level Eater, it's much harder to get this card out of your hand unless you start bumping up things like Tricky or anything like that, so I didn't really want to do that because the deck space is already too tight. And the final monster is one Tuning Wear. Now, this is one idea that I got from Shatner's Prodigy because I forgot this card existed. I know I'd be like, wow, that's very stupid of you considering you love Synchro Summoning. Yes, I know. We all make our mistakes, but Tuning Wear actually is pretty dirty in this deck, especially when you formula Librarian Tuning Wear. So the draws are just insane, and you'll see a couple of other cards that I use to kind of abuse this card. But yeah, Tuning Wear is a really nice one, especially a 1-for-1 target and all these types of things. Level 1 just makes nice plays. And yeah, it works out really well. So going on to the spells, we have 3 Desynchro. This card is insane in this deck. I absolutely love it, and following the DT trend, obviously. But this card's just insane, being able to just recycle it with, well, not recycle, but just use it with things like Formula Synchron. And also, when you do use Tuning Wear, you can just keep drawing. Really, really nice card. Gets you 2 combo pieces and gets you through your deck very quickly to make some unbreakable boards. Next up, RIP, my rarity. But we have 3 Dark World Dealing. Makes sense, because obviously this triggers Dark World cards. This triggers Fable cards as well. So it's a nice, easy one. Staple, don't really say too much about it. You don't really miss timing with these bad boys. 2 Twin Twister, again, just to kick off any back row. Also, it helps with the progression of our deck as well, especially if we're going second. So Twin Twister is really good. 1 double summon, again, DT double summon, I do love it. This is here just because sometimes I can find myself a bit clogged. I want an extra normal summon, and this solves the problem. So it doesn't happen too often, that's why I've only got 1. But it is a really nice card just to have, because it opens up a lot of different plays. 1 Upstart Goblin, just to help speed through the deck. You can replace that whatever you want if you really want. Soul Charge, because especially like going first turn, or if you really want to just abuse your opponent, you can build some unbreakable boards nice and easily. The 1 Instant Fusion, I'm running Norden, don't really say too much about it. The 1 Aya's Rock Sunrise. So the Sunrise here is a really interesting card because the targets I have are a lot. So it's special. Target 1 beast type monster in your graveyard, special summon that target, and if you do, all face-up monsters your opponent controls currently loses 200 for each beast, plant, and winged beast type monster you currently control in your graveyard until the end of the turn. You can only activate once per turn. So the targets I have for this are Chi, Chower, Cerebral, and Ganesha. And they're basically the targets I have, and obviously they are all good targets to bring back. It's a little monster reborn for the deck. That's why I run it. The 1 Foolish Burial, just to get things like Level Eater and Glow Up Bulb and anything else that I want to maybe use for a Cruise target, just to get them straight into the graveyard. Sometimes I will... Sometimes, you know, it's very difficult to talk about plays with this deck because there's just so much stuff you can do. But sometimes I put like a Grimoire in the graveyard if I have Cruise in hand and like a Chower, so I can go into like Reagan. Really nice, easy stuff like that. But yeah, so kind of makes sense. 1 for 1. 1 for 1's great. You know, just helps with the deck. Pluses. And finally, a 1 Monster Reincarnation. Just because you discard a card, adds a monster from your deck, from your graveyard to your hand, and then you also get the monster effect from the discarded card if it is a Fabled. It all works really well. It's all really super nice. So going on to the extra deck, I'll show these 2 together. We have a 1 Quasar and 1 Stardust Scythe Divine Dragon. So the only reason I'm running these 2 here, you could argue the fact that you just want to run 2 Quasar. I actually just like having these 2 in my extra deck because they're just so cool together, and if you can summon both of them at the same time, it's kind of broken. So, which you can do in this deck, you certainly can. I'll see if I can try and get a replay to do so. But yeah, Shooting Quasar and Divine Dragon are just really, really good cards in general for the deck, and you can do either or. I'd recommend at least 1 Quasar, especially in this version of the build. But I like having these 2 cards here because they are pretty awesome. Next up, we have the 1 Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Very easy to summon this card in this deck. It's always nice to summon a Trishula because you just feel satisfied. 1 Crystal Wing. Crystal Wing's actually very simple to summon in this deck, and it's an amazing card against like Cosmo and different things like that. So Crystal Wing is a really important card for the deck, I feel. Next up, I don't play any level 7s just because I can't be bothered with them. The extra deck's just so tight. I want to concentrate on being able to turbo through to big boss monsters. And there aren't that many great boss monsters in level 7s. Obviously, you have your things like your Crystal Wing, but then... not Crystal Wing, sorry, your... what is it? Clear Wing, but I have Crystal Wing for those types of things. Your Black Rose, you can clear the board if you want, but I can probably clear it anyway, and different things like that, so yeah. But yeah, so we have 2 Star Discharge Warrior. This is just my extra draw card for when I go into level 6s, and then I can level eater it down and carry on, do it again, or whatever you want. Really good card, really, really strong, and I found that having 2 of them was just good, because whenever I had 1, I would just turbo through it and be like, kind of wish I had another one now. Obviously, we have 3 Fabled Reagan. I probably should have started off with this bad boy, but yeah, we didn't. So yeah, Reagan is just a really good card. Obviously, your main card, main level 5 that you're going to be going into. Its effect is simple. You need a Fabled Tuner, but then it's generic after that. When this card is synchro summoned, if you have 1 or less cards in your hand, draw until you have 2 cards. So for example, if you have a Reagan and a TG Hyper Librarian on the board, Obviously, I'm playing Discharge Librarian. And you have no cards in your hand, and you special summon or synchro summon into Fable Reagan. You can build the chain how you want. So I'm going to put, for example, like Librarian at chain link 1, Reagan at chain link 2. Reagan checks, I have no cards in my hand, draw 2. Librarian's effect, draw 1. So I have 3 cards in my hand. So that's basically how that works. It's very important to know how to build that, because that's how you can gain your most advantage. And yeah, just in general, Reagan is an absolute boss monster and looks beautiful in Ultra Rare DT. As you saw, the one Hyper Librarian, you play as many as you can. The one Armory Arm, this is here just for a bit of funsies, but also a nice level 4. I didn't like Photon Dragon, the tuner level 4, because it just really annoyed me how sometimes I didn't want a tuner level 4, I just wanted a normal monster. So Armory Arm fits the bill and also has nice extra functionality, especially if you put it on Quasar. Tanotsuku, oh my god, I can't even say that now. Tatsunoku, there we go, thank you very much, Will, for, or thank you, Brain, for deciding to work. Level 3, tuner, use it from your hand if you so wish, really nice card, simple, yeah, Boshti. 2, Formula Synchron, because, you know, you're going to be going into this bad boy a lot. You kind of maybe want to consider running 3, but I have no space in this extra deck, and I found 2's working alright, so yeah, the Formula Synchron at 2 is nice. And then finally, as you may have remembered, we run Instant Fusion, so we run Nordin. Nordin's just amazing because it simply allows you to go into like a 1-card Reagan or anything like that. Sometimes I've just ripped my opponent completely by going Instant Fusion. I have no cards in hand, rip the Instant Fusion, go into Nordin, go into Chower, Synchro up, Reagan, draw 2, and then I've been able to go off from there. So there's been some pretty disgusting stuff. If Instant Fusion was at more, I would try and crowbar more in. Well, I mean, I would try and crowbar more Nordins in, but I can't, so yeah. But that is it, guys. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think of the deck. Really, really fun deck. I do love it. Shout out to my boy Pewsley, who will not be watching this, but I'll go kick him the next time I see him and say, like, look, I finally did it. So yeah, that is it. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think of the deck. I will put a little replay at the end of the video so you can see how the deck works and just get an idea. Make sure to leave me a like, comment, subscribe, and enjoy the video.